This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
This is what you can look forward to on episode 194, our big crossover episode of Skywalking Through Neverland.
Now, this was another point where my excitement went from 1 million to 1 billion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if you notice, Kylo Ren's got this awesome cape.
Yes.
Very Vader-ish.
And like the Crystal Foxes, I need plush.
And at this point, your R2 periscope popped up.
I think maybe you offended one person out of 1 billion.
My favorite tweet, I think, was when you were talking to BB-8.
That will be the Easter eggs I will be looking for. And don't be offended if I unfriend you on December 9th through the 11th. I don't want to hear anything.
Are you ready?
Welcome to Neverland.
Here we go.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land.
When I first made Star Wars, everybody in Hollywood said, well, this is a movie Disney should have made.
You're more than just fans. You're family.
Best day ever!
Secrets lab. It's about family, and that's what's so powerful about it.
Hey.
When you use a bird to write with, it's called tweeting.
When we visit the world of Disney, we never grow old. It's a Peter Pan, Never Land that keeps us young in heart.
This is Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you are skywalking through Neverland. I have a good feeling about this.
Hey, Skywalkers! Are you ready to party like a new Star Wars saga film is coming out in just 1 week? Then you've come to the right place, because we want to welcome you to
Skywalking Through Neverland!
I heard an echo. Hello? Echo? But this echo had an English accent.
Oh, it did.
Hopefully we'll discover the secret behind this secret echo in just a little bit. But let's continue on by telling everyone that we are your podcast destination for the many decades of your Star Wars and Disney fandom. I am Richard Woloski, and now everyone please say hello to my sweetie wife Sarah, who I think has adopted a male English accent.
Wait, what? What are you talking about? No, that was a terrible English accent. And on behalf of our guest, I apologize. But should we introduce our guest?
Please do.
All right. Well, we welcome all the way from across the pond from JediNews UK and the podcast Radio 1138. It is James Burns.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, James. I'm so glad that you've adopted the whole hey introduction. And I love hearing it in an English accent because now it sounds more formal. It sounds better than when I do it, okay?
It sounds proper.
Oh, proper.
Proper.
There you
That's
go.
the word.
It sounds proper.
There's your Mary Poppins reference.
Oh, I love it. You know what? I think we should have our next live video will come to you from the ceiling as we have our tea party on the ceiling. How about that?
On our broomsticks.
No,
trying to work on this whole English theme with Harry Potter.
How about our next live video is from the teacups tomorrow?
Oh my gosh, that's a good idea.
That's a really good idea.
Whoa, we could do the teacups and then go head on over to Alice in Wonderland.
Yep.
Okay.
So why don't we do that?
Okay.
Wait a minute, hold on. Star Wars was shot in England, so then we got to go over to Star Tours and we'll record the podcast on Star Tours.
Okay.
Because then everyone can hear me not be the rebel spy.
Well, you can't be the rebel spy anymore.
Uh-oh. No.
Those days are over.
Yeah.
Why? Why is that?
Why is that?
Because, well, now it's all the resistance.
Uh-huh.
So I would be the resistance spy.
So isn't it traitor to the First Order?
Well, that would be the resistance.
Oh, yeah. I know.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Just different words.
Okay,
yes.
different words. Okay.
So we need to have Hux or Phasma or someone come out and just yell, "Traitor!"
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like that.
Yeah.
Yes, Richard, you're a traitor. Get out.
You know what? I'd be happy with that. As long as I'm included somewhere.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think that would be good.
Well, there are rumors that next year at some point we will get the original Star Tours back so that people can choose which rides they want to go on. Although Disney haven't clarified this, there are just rumors going around that we're going to be able to choose our paths in Star Tours. So we can go down the original trilogy or prequel trilogy route, or we can go down the sequel trilogy route.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've heard.
That's how it should be. Like the Indiana Jones ride that never really worked out. You go at any path.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because my boys went on it in the summer when we were all over here, and they said that they hated the fact that you would, go to Hoth and then end up on Naboo. It just didn't make any sense.
Well, you're going on the whole timeline freeway lanes.
Well, it's not Doctor Who. You're not going to jump backwards and forwards.
Well, no, but dealing with Planet of the Apes, I know there's different timelines for every alternate universe. That's the only way for any of this to make sense.
But this is Star Wars. Man.
I know. You know what? I'm just telling you what I think, how this works out.
All right, but we have already gotten off on a tangent.
There's a surprise.
I know. So, you know what? We're going to get back now to The Last Jedi, and, the excitement is building. So we want to give all of you a warm and fuzzy Wookiee hug. Aww. All to our family of Skywalkers who are watching us right now, you Skytubers and you face huggers. And also, we have live our Facebook, Jedi News UK Facebook
our
page.
Jedi News Warsers.
Mm-hmm. So we're all here, and Teresa has to go to class. Bye, Teresa.
Bye, Teresa. Make sure that you do some good work.
Is she here? I can't tell who's in the room anymore.
I know, I'm sorry.
Where's Teresa?
Teresa's going to
Was
class.
she here too?
Yep.
Was she the one in the Porg costume too?
Yes, that was her.
You weren't supposed to tell
How many people
everyone...
were in that Porg costume?
There was only 2 of us, but you weren't supposed to tell everyone that it was both of us.
Yeah, we got a Porg costume in the living room that we found James in one night, and already said too much. All right, Sarah, go on.
Okay. So, if you guys want to listen to the show, if you're listening right now, please tweet at us at SkywalkingPod and at Jedi News UK and say, yay, we like crossover episodes, if you like it.
And if you like it, we'll do more of them. And if you don't, we won't.
And we just love it when you share our joy in this adventure through fandom. All right, everyone?
Right on.
Yes.
Now, we are recording this from Long Beach, California on December the 5th, 2017. James, ask Sarah what time it is. Go ahead, do it.
Sarah, what time is it, please?
It's 11:21. Good morning.
Thank you, Minnie.
See, when you ask her, she's got it right there, right on a dime. When I ask her, it's like a 10-minute lapse. I'm not reading into this.
Be careful what you say.
You know what, Richard? You distract me. So that's what
in
it
a good
is.
way.
Okay.
In a good way.
You know what? That's an acceptable answer.
Yes. Thank you.
Now let's tell everyone what's coming up on this show, which I think will be very acceptable to them.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be sharing our experiences and highlights from the Last Jedi press event held right here in Los Angeles.
Now we also have shout-outs, the Skywalker of the Week, but now let's take you back to last Sunday, December the 3rd, to the Last Jedi press kickoff. Now, you guys, I was not there, so I get to ask you all the questions. So, please describe this event for me.
It was nothing.
Yeah,
boring.
They had the craft service person. They had someone from the lighting group. I think he was an intern.
Yeah, and then we ended up grabbing a coffee and just chilling.
Yeah.
That was it.
I think you guys are full of
now,
S.
We're downplaying
Well,
this.
funny you should say that, because somebody did say that during the press conference.
But we'll bleep that out. But, we're trying to downplay this for Sarah because this event was amazing.
Aww.
It was.
Now, Sarah, we're so sorry you couldn't make it, but
does this mean for the next film, if we only get one, does that mean I get to go?
Never agreed to that at all. Never agreed to that at all.
That wasn't part of the agreement, was it?
No, it was not.
Not part of the deal?
That wasn't part of the marriage agreement that Sheldon grew up.
We didn't have a marriage agreement. Sheldon wasn't around back then.
Not that you knew of. Remember when I was asking you to sign that Netflix agreement?
Okay, so if we only...
That was a Netflix agreement.
So you get to go to the next press event, but if there's a Star Wars Land opening...
No, I didn't agree to that either.
You can't have it all. There's 2 of you. You need to share the love.
Exactly.
Remember that Disneyland agreement I was asking you to sign as well? Just the whole annual pass thing? Yeah, you should have read the fine print.
All right,
so now let's talk about this press event before we dig ourselves even deeper.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Into this marital rabbit hole.
Coming later is Marital Help by James, as I try and sort these 2 out and try and come to an agreement as to what happens next for the solo film and for episode 9.
You know what? Just tell her that I'm going to be the next press event doing an English accent because you can't deny anyone with an English accent.
Cool.
Mark Kugler says they're full of snoke. I like that. I
Nice.
like that a lot.
That's the new bleep word.
Yeah.
All right.
Way.
You know what? Everyone is waiting. Let's talk
Yes.
about this press event.
Okay, so first of all, before you go into the press event where they have the press conference, there is a pre-show, right? With all these setups.
Mm-hmm.
So explain that. Describe.
So there was lots going on. So you walked up an escalator. Or travelator, I don't know what you call it here in the US because we call
Escalator.
things. Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah.
You never know, lifts and elevators and anyway. So you walked up, and then the first thing that you saw was some costumes, and the first costume that you saw was Luke Skywalker's costume from The Last Jedi, which was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it was incredible until they asked me to take it off. That wasn't an incredible experience at that point.
No, well, you almost got thrown out at that point.
Yeah. So, James, what did you notice about this Luke Octu costume?
Well, there was so much detail to it, and I loved the muddy detail that was specific to the boots and all the way through the costume. It was very elaborate, very, very thick material, and I think it had been done incredibly well. And it was so nice to see these costumes. I mean, normally we only see these things when we go to celebrations and things like that. So to be able to see it, live, and for you to be able to put it on and try it, I mean, was fantastic.
Yeah, this was an incredibly detailed costume, like you were just saying, and I tried to take pictures of every single angle, just to really appreciate the different levels that this costume has gone through, because you can see it in pictures and in the movies, but there's always little details. Like when you see Amidala's costumes up close, you never notice all the intricate stitching, the lighting, and the patterns. All right, now when we round
and just on that, you ought to listen to the next Fangirls Going Rogue episode where they talk about Amidala's costumes.
Absolutely.
See?
Yeah.
Nice segue there.
Nice. Very nice.
All right, now as we rounded the corner from Luke's costume, James, paint us a picture. What did we see from there?
So from there, we saw a whole display of hundreds of products that are available to support The Last Jedi. Literally hundreds of products from every single brand that you can possibly imagine. And I'm going to miss loads out, so I apologize in advance. But Hasbro, Lego, Pozo, help me out, Richard.
Little Bits?
Funko, Little Bits. Well, no, Little Bits weren't in that area, actually.
Oh, okay.
The Jedi Challenge games, the VR experiences.
Yep. I mean, everyone that basically has a Star Wars license that's available here in the US was represented there, which was really, really nice to see. And everyone had at least a couple of products on display, and you could take photos. There was representatives there from Disney Consumer Products that you could ask questions about products if you had them. And they were there explaining where certain products fit into the line. And that was really, really nice to see. And nice to see lots of representation. Yeah, Mattel, others. Yeah.
They took a page out of Disneyland and having the gift shop right there. Only you didn't have to wait until the end of the ride. It was
you
right
couldn't
at the
buy
beginning.
anything, though.
No.
Well, no, but it just whetted your appetite for more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, one of the highlights for me was this Jedi Challenge game.
Ooh. Okay. So what is this a VR thing?
This, you put on the VR glasses, and standing right in front of you is Darth Maul.
This is a Lenovo Jedi chip. So this is made by Lenovo,
Okay.
and you can use it pretty much with any smartphone. So it's not a fully blown VR kit.
Okay.
So if you've got a smartphone, you can probably use this.
You can use those 3D viewers that you put the smartphone in, right?
Well, it's got a special one
Okay.
because you need a special lightsaber to be able to play. So Richard went first.
I went first. I fought Darth Maul, and apparently I lost.
Oh.
But Trisha
He's
has
dead.
actually got a video of me as I'm battling Darth Maul.
Oh my gosh, Trisha, I need to hit her up.
See, I like just watching. I'm not a big video game player, so I like watching what's going on. But as I'm watching it, I'm being struck down left and right. But if you're going to be struck down, then, who better to be struck down by than Darth Maul?
Makes sense.
And it was fascinating because they would have a yellow streak in the frame, so you knew where to put your lightsaber.
Oh.
So it led you along.
Like that's where Darth Maul's lightsaber was?
No, this is where you needed to put your lightsaber so that you could deflect him hitting you.
So I got a chance to speak to Hunter Gibson from the Disney Consumer Products and Interactive Media line, and let's hear a little bit of what he had to say about this amazing product.
Punch it.
Hey there, I'm Hunter Gibson from Disney's Advanced Development Group. I'm here today at the Star Wars Press Junket to show you Lenovo Star Wars Jedi Challenges. It's a partnership that we did, and it's now available at Best Buy. It's launched November 3rd. It's $199 for the 3-piece kit. You get the Lenovo Mirage AR headset, the lightsaber, which is super similar to the one that Rey is wielding in the films, and the tracking beacon, which basically tells you where to place the virtual world in your environment. So it's smartphone enabled, so if you have an iOS or Android device, you can use it. You can check out JediChallenges.com to find out what phones are currently compatible with the system.
So the version I just played had Darth Maul. Are there other characters?
Definitely. Right. On launch, we have 6 different duelists that you can fight against. They span across different Star Wars generations. So there's Darth Maul, Darth Vader, Kylo Ren. We even have characters from Star Wars Rebels, including the Seventh Sister and the Inquisitor.
Oh, wow. Is there one that's harder than the other? And these are all lightsaber battles. How intense do they get?
They get pretty intense. We have 3 modes of difficulty for each duelist. I myself can't even beat the last duelist, who's named the Archivist. It's a custom character that we worked with Lucasfilm to create, which is only appearing in this game.
Now, is this going to be marketed as a video game or something that you can work out too? Because I think I dropped a couple of pounds just trying to fight Darth Maul.
It's definitely a pretty active experience. It's kind of like a consumer electronic device. Since it works with your smartphone, though, it's super accessible and easy to get around with, so you can have a workout anywhere.
And the price point on this again is how much?
It's $199 for Star Wars Jedi Challenges, available at Best Buy now.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now say Neverland on Alderaan.
Neverland on Alderaan.
So $199, not bad.
Wow, and you get, what do you all get with that?
So you get the glasses, you get the lightsaber, and some other bits and pieces, and it comes in a beautifully packaged box. It was very, very impressive, and I had to go at it. And what happened, Richard?
What happened with you?
Yeah. Because you videoed me doing it.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Oh, you defeated Darth Maul.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So you're a better video gamer than I am.
But you know, if Richard went first, then James, you had the opportunity to actually see him and what he was going to do.
Yeah, let's go with that. All right. So
let's just say that Richard was being very aerobatic. Is that fair?
If you have a lightsaber in your hand, you got to do the spins and the twirls and the flourishes.
And you did, definitely. You definitely did.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun to watch.
So make a note that we're going to get this video from Trisha.
Okay.
All right. So what was another highlight for you, James?
So as we walked around the corner there, the next thing that we saw was Movies Anywhere.
Ooh.
Now, Movies Anywhere is a brand new collaborative app that brings together all of your content from iTunes, Amazon, Netflix, and everything into one app.
Is this Disney Movies Anywhere?
No, this is a new company. I'd never heard of them before.
No.
Unfortunately, it's only US based, but it enables you to bring all your content together in one place. So instead of having to hunt for it in these various other apps, you can bring all of your content together. So I guess you sign up using all of your existing accounts, and then you bring everything together in one portal, which is quite a nice idea.
This is all going to be great until Disney streaming comes along and takes all their product onto their service.
Yeah, and it won't be compatible with any Disney products. So that's pretty much everything that we'll watch.
Right. Now, for costumes, we saw the Luke, and there was a General Leia.
Yes, so that was behind us, wasn't it? That was behind everything else that we've seen.
Okay, so is this a General Leia from The Last Jedi?
Yes.
Last Jedi.
It was beautiful.
Okay, so I heard
This is the purple outfit.
Purple. Oh, okay. Where she has kind of her
so this is
high hair.
This is the costume you see in all the trailers.
Okay.
And once again, you see it on film, great. You see it in person, oh my goodness.
What struck you most about it?
The layers. Each costume has so many layers to it.
Excuse the pun.
Layers to it. You know what? If I had a Boston accent, it would be more layers. More layers to it.
And also, I think the jewelry was spectacular. I think Trisha mentioned that.
Yeah.
But the jewelry was beautiful, and I tried to get some really nice photos of that.
Oh, good. I'm excited because I heard about the jewelry, Fangirls Going Rogue we just recorded last night, and Trisha was talking about that.
Well, Richard tried to bring some home for you, but they wouldn't let him.
Yes, I tried.
Darn.
Shh. Christmas gift.
Oh, sorry.
Sarah's now an accomplice. So what I was really amazed by with these costumes is the fabrics they used. because that Leia costume was made with a very shimmery threading. So when the light hit it, it shone that much more. Kind of like what they did with the Darth Vader costume and painting some of it silver.
Right.
So when the light hits it just right, it gives it more depth.
Yeah, wow.
So Kylo Ren was also on display.
Okay.
Next to Rey. So Rey and Kylo Ren were put together, and their costumes looked fantastic. And we managed to get a couple of photos from the back because some of the costumes were so far up against the wall you couldn't actually get photographs from the back. So we managed to get a couple from the back. But really, really nice. We're passing the phone to Sarah.
If you notice, Kylo Ren's got this awesome cape.
Yes.
Very Vader-ish.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Vader.
Very Vader.
So he's got like a ribbed tunic,
Mhm.
and then the cape over that is very Darth Vader. I mean, it's got the same kind of sheen, same laying.
And what's going to be interesting, because from what we've seen so far in the TV spots and the trailers, for those that have been watching them, and I'm not giving anything away by saying this, we've only really seen Rey in one outfit.
Yeah.
You know, in contrast to somebody like Amidala, who had over 30 costumes during the prequels.
Just in the first scene.
Yeah, well, so far we've only seen Rey in 2 outfits in The Force Awakens, and from what we've seen so far, there's only 1 outfit she's wearing in The Last Jedi.
Right.
Now, what did we think of when we first saw this Rey costume, not just here on display, but in the trailers?
I mean, it's very similar to her previous outfit.
Yeah. Well, it's not
Just
like she
the
brought...
colors.
Yeah, and it's not like she brought a suitcase with her full of clothes like
that's
Amidala
true.
did when she went traveling.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, of course, we don't know until we see it. And you're right, she didn't bring a trunk. She's not like the Howells on Gilligan's Island where they had all these outfits to change into. However, I would have liked to... I want to see more outfits for her.
Although she could have brought quite a lot of stuff with her on the Falcon.
Well, very, very true. Before they blasted off from the car, she could have packed a trunk.
She could have gone shopping to the local, clothes our ass.
Force resistance base.
Yeah.
Or a Star Trader.
Yeah.
All right, so after the costumes,
Yes.
James, give me another highlight of yours.
So after the costumes, well, one of the biggest highlights for me, and I was really excited to see that ILM X Labs were there.
Ooh.
And they were showcasing even, put my teeth back in, a VR demo of the brand new Droid Repair, which is available for everyone from December 6th. So by the time this episode is out, you'll be able to download it yourself if you have the correct equipment. So you need an HTC Vive or equivalent VR apparatus to be able to use it.
Okay.
But this was an 8-minute interactive experience, and it's actually taking place during the events of The Last Jedi. So if you watch the corridor as you're playing this, you can see things going on. And at one point, you're attacked, which is really interesting. So I'm not going to give too much away, but it was incredible. You're actually controlling and repairing 3 different types of BB droids,
Wow.
one of which has a brand new head that we've never seen before.
Oh, what did it look like?
It was sort of a cross between BB-9E and BB-8 and sort of conical. And there was a very nice pink iridescent BB unit, which I'm sure will please a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay, that unit and like the Crystal Foxes, I need plush.
Yes.
I need plush.
Okay.
All right.
Now, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to try this VR experience. It was 8 minutes and there was so much to do and I only had so much time that I didn't get a chance to do it. So I'm glad, James, you did this. Now, how is this different than the Jedi Challenge game?
So this is, there's no real hints in terms of you're following a narrative. The graphics are immensely better than Jedi Challenges because of what you're doing and the way that you're doing it, and because it's been produced by ILM X Labs, it's so immersive, and you can walk around and you can turn around 360 degrees and look at and try and touch anything, and some things you can interact with and some things you can't. So it's very, very different, and it's the next level up. So whereas you're paying $199 for Jedi Challenges, the equivalent equipment for this VR experience is, well, you're looking at, I think it's $700 just for the HTC Vive. Then you need a powerful enough computer to be able to run it.
Right.
So you need a graphics card that's going to be at least $600-700 just to be able to, to power it. Have to stop. It's 11:38. We have to stop.
Oh.
Now. I think if I'm correct, you two do something at 11:38. So I'm gonna let you get on with it.
We gotta give each other a kiss. Mwah.
See,
that time is special for everybody.
It is.
I've only been here a few days, but I'm learning. So,
do you think this is going to be a big seller at such a high price point?
Well, people that are really into gaming, obviously VR is the next big thing.
Very much so.
And yes, it's expensive at the moment, but I think it is going to come down in price over the coming years, especially, because you see technology, it comes out 1 year and in 3 years' time, it's mainstream, it's everywhere. So I think right now, yes, it's expensive. ILM X Labs want to carry on doing things and want to keep producing content. Obviously, we've got a brand new ILM X Labs experience coming to various places such as Disneyland, Disney World. Over
Secrets of the Empire.
Secrets of the Empire. It's coming to London as well at Westfield on the 16th of December. Yeah, I think it's a great way to access it and to experience the future.
Nice.
Yeah. I've done a couple of VR experiences. I still can't wrap my head around how realistic it feels.
It's amazing.
Now, another high point of mine was getting to meet the actual screen-used BB-8 and BB-9E.
Oh my god!
It was amazing.
How long was the line for these guys?
Too bad.
It all depends when you went. It's kind of like Disneyland. It all depends on when you get there. Of course, at the beginning, everyone wanted to do everything. But the BB-8 line, I think, was very long because he had just rolled out. And we were all excited to see him because it was the new... Well, he didn't really change his appearance since Force Awakens.
BB-8.
But he's like all dirtied and battle damaged.
Although I'm going to just go back a second because during the droids challenge that we just talked about, they actually showed the inside of the BB units for the first time.
Whoa.
And it's canon. So that you actually repair the droid and you pull out the side panels and you actually get to see inside. And what you're seeing inside is canon.
Whoa.
So they made a big point of telling us that.
Wow.
So
now, for me, the one thing that really just knocks my head way out of reality is when you get to talk to someone, an actor who is in the movie costume, but now here they are making appearances, like when Anthony Daniels did C-3PO appearances at Celebration Zero. That was Anthony Daniels in that costume.
Wow.
So it was no longer Anthony Daniels. That was the actual C-3PO. And we've seen other actors at Comic-Cons, or even going back to Celebration and seeing Mads Mikkelsen
Yes.
in the Krennic costume. That was no longer Mads Mikkelsen. That was Krennic here
Director Krennic.
on planet Earth.
Right.
In Los Angeles.
Right.
Or
like
wherever we were.
When Loki came to...
Loki came to, what was that, D23? But point being, when the actors are in their costumes and they're live, so seeing these two droids right here in front of me, they weren't just props, they were the actual characters.
They were moving and acting
and they
and
were
sounds.
Yeah, they were the screen used droids.
And as a bonus, when I got a chance to speak to BB-8, he gave us a sound bite.
He did.
Let's go ahead and roll into that. It took him a few times, but he got it. All right, now the line is, I'm BB-8 and I'm skywalking through Neverland. Ready? 3, 2, 1. No. Okay, one more time. More emotion, okay? I really want to feel this. One more time. I'm BB-8 and I'm skywalking through Neverland. Action. Neverland. It's Neverland. One more time. One more time. I know, one more time. And action. That was it. Perfect. Thank you. Thumbs up.
That's so cute.
And he also sent a message to all of the Jedi News fans as well.
Hi BB-8, it's James from Jedi News. How are you? Cool. So have you got a message for everyone all over the world about The Last Jedi? Wow, that's incredible. We look forward to seeing you in your second film. You excited? Yes? Fantastic. Well, thank you, BB-8. I know you've got lots of other people to talk to, and we'll catch up real soon. Bye.
Now, what about BB-9E? Was he cantankerous?
Well, you know what? He was very gracious enough to validate everyone's parking.
Well, he validated your parking, and I asked him about his relationship with BB-8, and he wasn't particularly nice.
Maybe he just saw the love that I had for BB-9E. I wasn't all about the Porgs. I was all about the BB-9E, and you know, he wants attention. Now, let's wrap this up with another soundbite we had gotten from Amy Jansen, who was there with little bits all about the Build-A-Droids.
Now, these are incredible Build-A-Droid kits, and they recently did the Droidathon at Lucasfilm, where they're trying, because what they're trying to do is through STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts and maths, they're trying to encourage children, especially girls, to come into this environment. And this kit is $99, and it's absolutely fantastic, and I can't speak highly enough about it. It's a fantastic way to teach your children or adults, us grown-ups too, to how you can put something together and build something and then adapt it in any way that you want. And part of the competition that they've recently launched, which goes through to January, you can build your own droid creation and you can enter with a chance to win some incredible prizes. And it's being judged by Kathleen Kennedy, by Kelly Marie Tran, and by Daisy Ridley. So, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah.
I want to get this because it'll teach me how to read a manual.
You won't use the manual. You just
well, that's my problem right there. I don't read manuals. I just try to put A on to B and the slot C and tab.
Right. But it's totally blue sky. Like, you can do whatever you want with this droid. And actually, I'm going to give another shout out to Fangirls Going Rogue, episode 53, where we interviewed Crystal Persad, who is the director of product design at Little Bits. And she told us a lot more in detail about these awesome Build-A-Droid kits and just what it's like working for such a fun company.
So now let's roll into Amy Jansen as she tells us about the competition and the Build-A-Droid kit.
So Little Bits is a platform of magnetic bits that pull together and help you understand how circuitry works. So I will show you how this first snap works. So this is the first circuit that you build in the Droid Inventor Kit. This is our kit. This is what comes out of the box. It's not a replica toy. It's not meant to be put on a shelf. It's meant to be taken apart. It's meant to be customized, and we just launched the Little Bits Global Competition as a way to get people involved in a global inventor movement. And one of the ways that we wanted to do that as a way to inspire all of these submissions is to work with the top engineers at some of the top Bay Area tech companies. So we created an event called the Droidathon. And these are some of the winners. We've got folks from Lucas, ILM, Fitbit. Fitbit had a cool one. It was a bubble droid. It blew bubbles. And then as a way to get the kids to move around, you had to burst the bubbles with a lightsaber. We have a Princess Leia droid. And when you turned her on, her buns spun. And then they created a mini hologram of the iconic Princess Leia hologram from the first movie. Help us, Obi-Wan, you're our only hope. We have a Vanilla Ice droid, which moves forward and plays the classic Vanilla Ice song. And we're $99.95 and available at Walmart, Amazon, Disney stores, and Apple stores.
All right, how hard are these for kids to put together?
So, it really depends. For kids, we've had kids put them together in 30 minutes. We've had kids take an hour and 10 minutes. It's not easy. I will say the first time I put one together, it takes a while. But we have a great app that's really well done and very obviously visual, but does a great job of really walking you through the process. But it depends on the kid. Some kids are better. One of the things that's been interesting in our user testing is some kids are better intuitively at electronics and understanding how that goes. Other kids are more intuitive about spatial organization. So it's interesting to see how different sides of their brain work and how you're kind of flexing different muscles and what parts of the process are hard or easy for different kids.
All right, and do these roll as well?
Yes, they do.
They do. Do you control them with your phone?
You control them with your app, exactly. We have Bluetooth, super, super simple Bluetooth, and you can turn them, you can drive them forward, you can drive them backward. We have a sensory proximeter. You can use the force. We have a servo motor, so things move around up top. So it's advanced. It's not play electronics. Actually, one of the cool stories from the Droidathon, he described himself as a grizzled old engineer, and he worked at Google. And Google was also part of the Droidathon. And he said, I thought this would be cute. I've been around the block, toy, whatever. And he said, this is real engineering. Like, this is no joke. And this was really fun and tapped into new ideas for even someone like me. So, one of the best compliments we've ever gotten.
And when the kids have put these together in competitions or in focus groups, if you had focus groups, and if so, what are some of the comments that you get?
Yeah, no, we did obviously a ton of user testing like we do for all of our products. One of the big takeaways was what I was talking about in terms of the spatial awareness and electronics. We obviously got great feedback from them about the app and really was able to refine the app. Again, today it's an extraordinary, simple and intuitive process. The other thing that came up was the degree of complexity. This is a toy for 8 to 12-year-olds. Invention is hard, doesn't always happen on the first try. It's not easy, and creative problem solving is a huge part of this toy and the rest of our and the rest of our products. That being said, there's a lot. You can get to a point where complexity and difficulty is a barrier for an 8-year-old. So figuring out the right balance of that was something also that the kids and their parents really helped us understand.
And what's the going rate for this?
$99.95. It's a great price for a toy, for a holiday toy.
Right. Or another answer could have been, you can't put a price on education.
There you go. That's another great answer as well.
All right, so this was like so much just in the lobby of this event. What was there anything else?
Yeah, I mean there was 2 or 3 other things. There was a display from the awesome razors by Philips. So
razors?
Yes,
shavers.
Okay. Sorry, I'll get that right there. Shavers, and they're by Philips. And there's 5 different ones: BB-8, R2D2, Podameron, Light Side, and Dark Side. And we've got videos, unboxing videos, on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook stream, JediNews UK, of all of these. And they're incredible. They are superb, and they're all styled. So like the Podameron one looks like an X-Wing fighter.
Oh.
I've actually got it here. It is superb. So these were on display. Mm-hmm. So you can master your shave with Philips. And then next to that was a room with lots of t-shirts in it.
They spared no expense. So big hats off to Lucasfilm and Disney for the great experience that we had there. And the t-shirts let's quickly talk about that because we need to roll into the press conference. They gave everyone a ticket to get a silkscreen t-shirt that were being made as you waited. So you got a chance to get that Porg, R2, BB-9E, BB-8.
You could pick your
Falcon,
X-Wing.
X-Wing.
Oh, wow. And Richard, you were so nice. You, instead of getting the BB-9E for you, you got me a Porg.
See, it's like you were there.
Yay!
Yeah, and they gave away a bag of swag, which is always very welcomed.
Yes, thank you for that. And that contained a 6-inch Black Series figure, and we both happened to get the AT-AT driver, figure number 31. Mm-hmm. And we also got the brand new Mighty Mugs, which are coming to stores and available to pre-order now. They're coming to stores in January. Okay. And we both got the one and only Princess Leia.
Oh, and you can press down on the head and her face changes.
Yes, she's got 3 different expressions. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, she doesn't give the finger, which is a bit of a shame.
Right. But now the chase version of this, when you spin her head, it turns into Gary.
That would be cool. That would be really cool.
That's not true at all.
Steve from Hasbro, if you're listening, that would be awesome.
Yeah, press down on her head, all of a sudden it becomes Gary.
Convention exclusive. Come on, do it.
So, needless to say, we had a fantastic time meeting up with a lot of the other podcasters and bloggers and reviewers that we don't ever get a chance to see unless there's a film opening.
Right.
Or,
celebration.
Yeah, or something, an event such as this.
Right.
So, big shout out to Brian Young, Trisha Barr, Mike McCaster from the R2 Builders, the Star Wars show guys.
And girls.
Joseph Deckelmeyer, we've had on the show from Screen Rant.
And from Lucasfilm. Lynn Howe, Chris Agarlopoulos. Sorry, Chris. Chris A.
Yeah. And lots of others.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So much fun. And even though I didn't get to go to the press event, I got to have drinks with you guys after later. So that was
really
fun.
cool.
Trisha
and if you noticed,
BJ.
I sent out more than 2 tweets in one day.
You did. You were very good. And when I was done with my job, I was like catching up on Twitter going, oh, look at all the cool stuff. And my favorite tweet, I think, was when you were talking to BB-8. So we have a video up at Skywalking Pod. It's just the cutest thing ever. So go check that out.
So we weren't just there to see all of this really, really cool stuff. There was a main reason why we were invited to this, and this was the first press junket for The Last Jedi. And those people in attendance were Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Adam Driver, Oscar Isaac, Andy Serkis, Domhnall Gleeson, Gwendoline Christie, Laura Dern, Kelly Marie Tran, Mark Hamill,
who's the only Star Wars veteran there.
Absolutely. There was no Anthony Daniels or anybody else.
And then, of course, the director.
Of course.
And director Rian Johnson.
And writer.
Yes, exactly. And the helmer of the new trilogy, which I'm surprised no one asked him about.
Because, I think...
what can you say?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It would have been a wasted question.
Yeah. So this was a 40-minute plus press conference. So let's talk about our highlights and what really spoke out to us. So Sarah, what quote really stuck out to you?
All right, so listening later, Laura Dern, she is in this film. And I've loved her since Jurassic Park. And, you know, it's just so exciting to see her as part of Star Wars. And she's a huge Star Wars fan, from what I've heard. So I really loved when she got to answer a question about just how Star Wars has affected us and how this film in particular, what it meant to her.
And just to add to that, what Ryan spoke to, that he does so beautifully, as well as Andy was describing, the intimacy of discovering each character's conflict, which is just extraordinary given the enormity of the cast, that he gave us that in the experience of the workplace. And it was shocking. And Oscar and I always talked about just how stunned we were that we were in such a massive environment and did feel like we were, you know, making a indie movie, and you were always encouraging us to try things and explore character and explore this duality of the light and the dark within characters. The movie speaks to so beautifully, not just that there are alternative universes, but that lies within, which seems to be the place that George Lucas first started, the mythology of that, and it's just so brilliant.
She was thinking about her answer, knowing that this would be played around the world. So, and I just think it's so great that they're all involved with the characters and exploring that light and dark, and that's what we've been getting in the marketing leading up to this film.
So what about that really set you on a new course of thinking when it comes to these characters for The Last Jedi? And I know every director wants their actors to explore their characters, but now being in Star Wars after Rogue One, where you had what we used to think rebels were the good guys, they're good to a point and they got to do what they got to do.
Right.
Do you think Holdo will be of that same ilk? That she'll do whatever she's got to do? Does she have a dark side, whatever it takes to get there?
I don't know about that. I think, honestly, that Laura Dern is more talking about some of the other characters like Rey or Kylo. So that's where my head was at. And just the fact that she brought it all back to what George Lucas originally wanted with the Star Wars trilogy, which was to, instead of just talking about these characters, there's a deeper meaning behind the entire Star Wars trilogy, and that is the light and dark within ourselves.
I think that's personified really well with Anakin Skywalker. We really understand Anakin Skywalker when it comes to Episode 4.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What she was saying was very, very heartfelt, and I think what everybody was saying during the whole panel was very, very heartfelt, and it felt very, very warm. Although, you know, having a panel like this before the films, they can't really talk about anything that's going on in the films. So they have to go not off topic, but they have to find a way to engage the audience and engage the people that they're talking to, and find some synergy. And by talking about the light and the dark and what's within us all, I think they managed to achieve that.
The hardest part about this is that we didn't get a chance to see the film first.
And they did.
Normally, we get a chance to see the film so we know what to ask.
Yes.
This time, we didn't get a chance to see the film, so they had to tread very, very lightly, because all it would take is one small slip-up, and the whole light and dark secrecy is revealed.
Yeah. And they need to shroud that with mystery.
Yeah. And I love the whole independent film talk. And that really excited me because having worked on independent films, you know that the director will, like we were just talking about, talk to the actors about exploring, not just light and dark, but you have the freedom to explore the internal monologue of your character and put that on the screen any way you can. Whereas in these big budgeted films, it's like, okay, your motivation is this. Action.
Right. Like maybe he took the time to get other people's opinions on things and like, you know, by creating something together, it becomes that much better.
Well, just look at Star Wars. That's got an incredible independent feel.
Absolutely.
Even though it was distributed and financed by Fox, it was really an independent film because George and the crew made it themselves without any studio interference. Look how beautifully that turned out.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, we wouldn't be sitting here now without that.
Right, exactly. Plus the unity of the crew.
Right.
And having seen the whole cast up there, you can really tell these guys are now one big, happy, loving family.
Very much so. I mean, that came across the warmth between all of them. And, you know, these guys not only made a film together, but they're traveling the world over these 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for them and their families and their, you know, dependents and stuff. But you could see that they were in awe of each other and listening to each other and all in tune with one another, which is lovely to see.
And if not, then they're better actors than we give them credit for.
Absolutely.
Because they really had that family vibe going. Now, this was the point where my excitement elevated.
Okay.
Yes. And I was asking a lot of people, what about this whole press conference elevated your excitement? Now, when I heard them talking about the whole independent feel, that's, you know, having been in that world, my excitement just went through the roof. I was excited before, but now...
And at this point, your R2 periscope popped up. Well, you popped up anyway.
Right.
I get it.
Now, James, talking about light side and dark side earlier, you had a specific question about that.
So I wanted to ask a question, but before I asked the question, I just wanted to make a comment, and it was sort of misconstrued. And
By who?
By maybe the journalist at Entertainment Weekly, I'm not sure. Richard knew exactly where I was coming from, and we've had this discussion already. Daisy looked magnificent, as did all the cast. But for me, she was wearing a very, very dark shade of lipstick. And I just wanted to point that out. And that's all it was. There was no other intention Well, you were referencing the dark side,
absolutely,
right?
The light and the dark.
And that's all I was doing. And
you know what? How about this? Let's play the clip so all the Skywalkers and the listeners of Radio 1138, they can make their own judgment. And then we can hear what Entertainment Weekly had to say.
Hi, James Burns from JediNews. First of all, Daisy, I can't help notice that you're wearing a very, very dark shade of lipstick. Question.
Nice to see. Obviously, Ray goes to the dark side. He's trying to send.
Question. The question is George made the original trilogy very much. We watched it through the eyes of R2-D2 and C-3PO through the droids. And obviously here we've got R2 and 3PO and BB-8 and BB-9E. So do we continue to see the story through the eyes of the droids, or are they just passengers on this adventure?
It's different, and it was different in The Force Awakens. It's different in this also. We don't quite have so much the hidden fortress kind of worm's eye view of the story that we started with in those movies. And with this, different story, had different needs, and so we are much more kind of with our leads the whole time.
I'll just quickly add, what I think is amazing about the film is that every character, I don't have a big film knowledge or anything, so I'm not like, this is, so I never understood the structure of what the Star Wars was and what anyone was trying to fulfill, so just as me watching it, I think you really follow the story because you're with every character. Like everything you need to see is happening on screen. You're not seeing things happen off screen that have happened off screen. So people are asking questions on screen. They're getting answers on screen. They're having their adventure on screen. So you're with everyone every step of the way. So how the story's unfolding. And I think it makes for compassionate viewing, because you're really understanding both sides, why people are doing the things they're doing, and how it's being fed from everywhere, and how things collide, and the consequences of people's actions, how they're directly affecting other people.
I got a lovely answer from both Ryan and Daisy, but the whole lipstick thing, it was... Sarah, what do you think?
What? Oh,
well, you know what? How about this? Let's read what this journalist said.
Oh, okay.
Then we can go into that, because I don't understand where they're coming from.
Okay, so EW.com, let's see.
They had a breakdown of the press conference.
Right.
And this is what they wrote about James's question.
One journalist in attendance noted that Ridley was wearing very dark lipstick, which puzzled the entire cast, especially so soon after the long discussion about how women's appearances don't define them. Obviously, Rey goes to the dark side, Bresnikan observed.
All right.
So,
I was there.
Right.
And I don't think the whole cast anyone was puzzled.
No, they were just laughing. They took it in the light frame of mind that you meant it.
And Ryan knew exactly.
Yes.
Ryan knew exactly what I was getting at.
Mm-hmm. He's like, "Oh, darn it, we gave it away by Daisy's lipstick."
Look, she looked fantastic.
Yeah.
And it stood out. Her lipstick stood out to me.
Because she doesn't normally wear that dark.
Correct. And maybe because they were talking so much about light and dark, and we'd heard so much about that. But please, 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 I was not going anywhere about women's appearances and how they don't define them. That's not something I would ever go near, and anybody that knows me knows that.
I think that was one of the most educated questions there. It shows that you're being observant.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very difficult with these press conferences, especially when you haven't seen the film, and knowing that you can't talk about spoilers and you can't ask things that you know they don't want to answer. So, Ryan, what are you doing in the next 3 films? And, Daisy, do you really go to the dark side? And, Andy Serkis, so what happens with Snoke at the... you can't ask those questions because you're just going to be given...
They're not going to answer them.
Exactly.
Yeah, you didn't ask the question. You just observed and then went into your question.
Yeah, and I deliberately didn't ask it as a question, but I thought it was worth just pointing out. That was all.
Yeah,
so I apologize if I did cause anybody any offense. That absolutely wasn't the case, and that's not the way that I operate.
I think maybe you offended one person out of 1 billion.
So
those aren't bad odds in a day.
I guess so.
All right, now let's go into your question. You would ask them about the point of view, which I thought was a very good observation once again.
Well, if you go back to The Force Awakens, we are watching some of the film through the eyes of those 3 droids. The opening...
The BB-8?
Yeah, the opening is all about seeing what BB-8's doing, BB-8 carrying the message, if you like, as well as the map. Sorry if I'm spoiling it for anyone that hasn't watched The Force Awakens. If you haven't, where have you been? So there was a lot going on, and even through R2's eyes from a certain perspective, because until R2 woke up, we didn't know where the film was going. We didn't know that R2 had the missing piece, and he'd had it for so long. And it brought it back to the original trilogy and how George perceived that story and telling the whole story through the eyes of 3PO and R2.
And I think Ryan's answer really speaks to the fact that he knows these films, he knows where he's come from, but he also is taking that and building upon that in The Last Jedi. That's what I'm getting from this whole press conference.
Yeah. And I like Daisy's honesty that she's not a film buff, but this is how she's seeing it through her eyes, and it's all laid out on the screen, and she can't reference it to another film because she doesn't have that knowledge, but she admits that she doesn't have that knowledge. And so rather than try and hoodwink us, she's just being honest about her life and who she is.
Now it's breaking a tradition that George Lucas had set up, that these films are being seen through R2 and 3PO's eyes. How do you feel about that? Any way we can still progress George Lucas's ultimate image, I'm all for.
If it's a good story and I'm captivated emotionally, I'm good. That's my feeling on it.
Okay, you know what?
Yeah.
There's no wrong answer. I just wanted to hear what other people thought.
Okay.
I mean, even if you go back to Rogue One last year, I still think that we saw a lot of it through K2SO's eyes and some of the other droids that were involved. And I mean, if you take a step back and you think about that, pretty much everything we saw from the Resistance point of view or the Rebellion was through K2. So I don't know whether Gareth did that deliberately, and that's maybe a question for another time of Gareth if we get the opportunity. But it definitely played out that way, or it seemed to.
Yeah, I think it's all depending on you and how you watch it in your personal experiences. If you have a personal experience to Rey, you're going to see it through her eyes. Absolutely. And hopefully you won't have an experience like Kylo Ren and see it through his eyes. All right, Sarah, let's go on to another highlight from the press conference. What else? What other quote really spoke out to you?
All right, so the question was asked, and we knew it would be, what does all these female characters in the film, in The Last Jedi, and even from The Force Awakens, what do all these female characters affecting little girls mean to you? And they asked this of the women in the cast. And I thought these answers were great, especially from Daisy Ridley and Kelly Marie Tran, following that up.
I think, like, as a girl growing up in London, obviously I knew there was a disparity in films, but I wasn't so aware of it. Like, growing up in a liberal household, I was never really made to feel any one way. So when I, when I got involved, I didn't really, I knew it was a big deal, but the response was so beyond anything I could have imagined that I'm still like, it was only afterwards that I was like, oh yeah. And it's not like I ever took it for granted or anything, but it was just so monumental, the response and how people felt about it. And obviously that's a testament to Kathy, JJ, Michael, Larry, everyone who created the characters in the beginning. And I think what's great about everyone is it's not like she's a girl, this is a guy, this is anything. It's just great characters that happily are falling into broader categories now. So I'm thrilled. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it feels like both an honor and a responsibility at the same time. I feel like from the beginning, when I initially found out I got this role, I just felt like I wanted to do the whole thing justice. And I'm so excited that, guys, the girls in this movie kick some butt. Every single one is so good. And I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Yeah. I just want to pay tribute to Rian for being one of the most brilliantly subversive filmmakers I've ever been able to bear witness to. And in the case of the look of my character, I was moved by the fact that he really wanted her strength to first lead with a very deep femininity, and to see a powerful female character also be feminine is something that moves away from a stereotype that's sometimes perceived in strong female characters must be.
All right, so Sarah, talk about that last quote by Laura Dern.
I do like that, and honestly, Leia was a bit like that. I mean, she looked very feminine, even if she acted all tough. And so I think Amilyn Holdo is carrying on that message and like what that means and how that's portrayed in this film. You know, I love when power is portrayed like Wonder Woman, you know, when she's going out for the first time in No Man's Land and her, you know, they show her outfit and she's, you know, taking on the world just herself. Like, I was crying because of that just display of amazingness. So both of them affect me. So I'm very intrigued to see how this is portrayed in The Last Jedi.
Whereas if you look at something like Ridley from Alien, she's always dressed like a man.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I can't connect to that.
Yep.
Because I'm very girly. Yep. I'm very, you know, I wear dresses whenever I can't, you know, that kind of thing. So,
and Padme as well. I mean, Padme's another one.
Yeah, exactly. And she has so many outfits.
Right. Now, what about what Daisy Ridley said about, she didn't think about the role as a female. She just thought about it as a role in a story that she had to carry through.
Well, I really connected to Daisy just in terms of how she mentioned that she grew up in a household that wasn't really aware of treating girls any differently than boys. Mm-hmm. That's how I was raised and grew up. So, you know,
that's the way it should be.
Exactly. And this female conversation that's happening now, like, I almost can't relate to some of the feminists who've had just bad experiences growing up because I've had such a good experience. So, you know, I hope that it's a good experience now for little girls and that they had the same type of, you know, place that I had growing up.
Well, you know, I've got two boys and a little girl, and everyone's treated equally, as it should be. You know, everyone, you know, all of the kids, part of their chores, they all empty the dishwasher.
Yes.
They all do the chores. It's not just down to one of them. And it's not just a female-orientated thing. They all have to get involved.
Right.
And we've always been that way. And if Miriam wants to wear a dress, go for it. If the boys wanted to wear a skirt, go for it. It's all about individuality, and it's about doing what you want to do. And I think now the pendulum has probably gone too far the other way.
Right.
And there needs to be some normalization, if that makes any sense.
I think that does make a lot of sense. I mean, I know the conversation right now is very female oriented, which is great. But yeah, there does need to be some balance there.
Equalization.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think for too long, and not necessarily in Star Wars, because we've always had a self-rescuing princess. We've always had a female front and center, especially in all of the original 6 films, and then obviously in Rogue One and Force Awakens and now The Last Jedi. So we've always had women up front and center. And I think one of the only franchises, we were talking about this yesterday, one of the only other franchises that has had a woman up front and center is Alien, and is the Alien franchise. So, I think that Star Wars is really the exception to the rule, and we've been very, very lucky. But now with the advent of all these new films and Forces of Destiny and everything else, I think women are being embraced, and girls are being embraced, and that's great. And I'm thrilled for that. Having an 8-year-old daughter that's growing up in this world and enabling her to access all of the amazing things that she can is fantastic. And there's a plethora of products and things that she can access and grab onto that didn't exist 5 years ago. And I completely agree that they didn't exist 5 years ago.
This is also the direction that Kathleen Kennedy took when at the Force Awakens panel, when someone had asked her, when will there be a female director? And she jumped right in by saying, we don't know. We want a good director.
Right.
Doesn't matter whether they're
female, male. The next 15 directors could be all female. Then there you go. There's your choices right there.
And we should just point out that Kathleen herself has been the producer on so many films, and has been kicking butt in Hollywood for the last
1982.
40. Exactly.
Yes.
If
there was a Mount Rushmore of the film industry right now, it would just be her.
Exactly. Is it 140 films she's been involved in?
Right.
Give or take 1 or 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So she's really been a pioneer of this.
Yeah, once again, I mean, she is the exception to the rule. I think what the conversation is now is we want more of a 50-50 share in roles in Hollywood behind the scenes. That's what women want. So I know that's hopefully being carried out, and Kathleen Kennedy, in a position of power, does have a responsibility to at least try to get more women in film.
And that's why the whole Little Bits thing is so important, and STEAM and STEM subjects,
Yes.
and girls taking those and not just dropping out because they find maths too hard. They need to engage, and they need to get involved in those sort of things.
And that's what Amy was saying earlier from Little Bits, that what their tests have shown, because I asked her about focus groups, and she was saying that some little girls at the age of like 8 or 9, somewhere around that area, they see that math is too hard. Nope, forget it. I'm going to drop it and do something else.
And unfortunately, the teachers haven't been pushing hard enough to encourage them to carry on with those subjects.
Yeah, and it starts from a young age, too.
Oh, very much so.
I think it's going to take a lot longer than we think to get like a 50-50 share, just because of the way people are brought up.
Absolutely.
In terms of gender.
Yeah, but let's just make sure story comes first.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, now, speaking of the story, there's a segue. Someone had asked Mark Hamill about training Rey, which I thought there's not many ways he could answer this, but he answered it very, very well.
Yeah, I mean, when you're posing a question like that, the actor has to sit and think very, very quickly as to how they answer. Because if they say the wrong thing, then they can fall into a huge trap and give away a plot line. So Mark was incredibly quick thinking and gave an awesome answer. And here it is.
Were you assuming that I train Rey?
Exactly.
Sneaky.
Do I?
Sneaky.
I know I have to be really careful. People say, was it difficult to pick up and wield a lightsaber again? And I go, Do I?
Is it difficult acting in this movie? Am
Well-
I in this movie?
I can promise you my part is twice as big as it was in Force Awakens.
Nice.
So, Mark was very, very careful, and, he says, do I train Ray? Do I? You have to wait and find out.
He almost answered, but hold on. Gotta be careful.
Yeah, that was the inbuilt chip that Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy had just pushed. You must not answer. Because every Star Wars actor has this inbuilt chip now.
Yes.
That they put in. So the minute you try and say something that you're not allowed to, it just gets pressed, and automatically they go into
It's like a dog choke collar.
Yeah. We're joking, obviously, but he was very, very clever, and his answers were fantastic.
I'm willing to bet there is an in-house press conference that's done.
They test, yes,
and just to ask the questions they assume the press will ask.
Yeah,
just so they can condition them, because as we heard from, what was it, Celebration Europe, where Baze Malbus.
Yes. Freudian slip there.
Yeah, it's spoiled.
And when this guy dead, I do something better.
Yeah, but at the time, it was a huge spoiler.
Well, yeah. So they want to make sure that never happens again. And at Comic-Con, Adam Driver had mentioned the base named Starkiller, and then said, "Oh, should I have not mentioned that?"
Right.
I think that was planned, though. I honestly think that one was planned, and they were going to reveal that then.
Okay, sure.
And that's how they did it, I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
But it's very interesting that Mark has never said about if he does or does not ignite a lightsaber, because at this point we still don't know.
Well, we find out very, very soon.
Yeah. When we were talking about this over dinner the other night, we had some great speculations as, does Luke have a lightsaber on Ahch-To?
That's not the one that Daisy gives him?
We also speculated about there's a certain change that Ryan had asked, and this is public knowledge. There's no secrets here. Ryan had asked that BB-8 didn't go to Ahch-To, but instead another astromech goes to Ahch-To instead. And as we know from Return of the Jedi, that Luke likes to keep things hidden in R2, such as plans and maybe the odd lightsaber.
Any callbacks to the original trilogy, I'm all for.
So I was referring earlier on to Richard's periscope popping up, and by that I meant Richard getting up, because Richard was wearing a rather dashing suit jacket.
Yeah, when you tend to wear an R2-D2 suit jacket, people tend to notice you, which Anthony Bresnikan did, and I gotta say, he did a great job keeping the conversation moving, and I'm glad we got a chance to help out with his introduction to the conference. But I asked Ryan a question about the visual cues he was going to take from The Empire Strikes Back, which I think is one of the most incredibly shot films in film history.
We're going to play this audio for you, and you'll notice that at one point the whole cast goes, "Ooh!" So what was happening at that point? Just so we have a frame of reference.
Richard stood up, and they were just so in awe of Richard's jacket. The lights came on, and maybe they just wanted to check Richard out. I think you've got competition, Sarah.
I think I heard Daisy Ridley say, "Oh, nice jacket." But anyway, here is my question to Rian Johnson, which I really, really wanted an answer to.
Richard in the R2-D2 jacket. Bold choice.
I like it.
Whoa, that's a cool jacket.
Thank you, Anthony. This question here is for Mr. Johnson. I'm Rich Woloski from Skywalking Through Neverland. I love you all, but this question is for Mr. Johnson. You had said that a lot of the visual cues for The Last Jedi were going to be taken from The Empire Strikes Back. What aesthetic really spoke to you about Empire, and what shot did you really want to replicate from The Empire Strikes Back?
Hit the ugly light. Well, I mean, my cinematographer, Steve Yedlin, who I've been best friends with since I was 18 years old, we met in film school. And so to be standing next to each other on a Star Wars set was pretty surreal. But I think Empire is, I think it's just the most beautiful. All the films are beautiful. I think for my just taste, I think the cinematography in Empire is the most gorgeous of the whole series. And so Steve and I looked at the lighting in that it's also kind of it's pretty daring in terms of how dark they were willing to go with some of the, literally dark, and how gorgeous they went with some of the choices they made with the shaping of the lighting. But then in terms of like an actual visual aesthetic, I made a choice very early on that I thought, well, I can either try and kind of copy my idea of what the original movies did, which was much more of kind of a formal, the camera didn't move a ton, and it was much more of kind of a much more formal type visual aesthetic. Or I realized, we're going to take visual cues lighting-wise and design-wise from, the previous movies, but I need to just shoot this movie the way that I would shoot a movie, because at the end of the day, if I'm not engaged with it and I'm not trying to tell the story the way that really makes me excited, then it's not going to be up there on the screen. So I kind of cut myself from loose camera movement-wise and shot-wise from trying to imitate the past and just tried to tell the story as excitingly, is that a word, as I could up on the screen. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, this was another point where my excitement went from 1 million to 1 billion.
Oh.
Taking visual cues from the previous films. Now, for The Empire Strikes Back, here's going to be a film school term, mise en scène, which is the visual arrangement within a frame or a stage. The mise en scène in The Empire Strikes Back, the lighting placement, the camera placement, the focus is just astounding. That's why I say The Empire Strikes Back, I think, is one of the most beautifully shot films of all time. And if he's going to take some references from Empire, that will be the Easter eggs I will be looking for. And as he just said, he won't just take them from Empire, but the whole of all the films.
I mean, he answered it in a way that he could. He didn't give away the scenes, although, people are already comparing Hoth to Crate and vice versa.
Yes.
So we'll see how that plays out. But I know you were a little disappointed that he didn't actually answer the question.
Yeah, I was looking for a more
scenes?
in-depth answer. Like when we go to Canto Bight, I took references from The Empire Strikes Back and how Cloud City was laid out and shot. And he did say he didn't want to be stuck to that. He wanted to open it up to how he would shoot a film, which was perfectly understandable. But I want a definitive answer. Maybe he could have said, if you look on Canto Bight, there's some Cloud City analogies in the way we shoot the film.
Okay. But I think he left it for you to figure out for yourself.
Which is fun, but I was so excited hearing this.
Right.
That I wanted more of an answer, but I understood why he couldn't say more. And I did ask him, is there a shot you really wanted to replicate? Now, for me, I love the shot where Han Solo in The Empire Strikes Back gets off his tauntaun and he walks into Echo Base and the camera booms up so you see the whole depth of Echo Base with the Millennium Falcon in the background and Chewbacca's welding on top of it. If I were shooting The Last Jedi, that's a shot I would definitely want to replicate. So I know it's more in-depth than he was going to get into. And if it was a one-on-one, I would have said, that's great, but now let's answer the question.
Nice.
I'm sure you'll have another opportunity once the film's out. And when we next see him at a celebration, and we know now that he's doing a lot more Star Wars, I'm sure you'll have the opportunity to actually ask that question and get a real answer.
Yeah.
Definitely.
When I was talking to the gentleman at Jedi Challenge, he walked right by me. And I didn't want to be rude to Hunter, who I was talking to.
You were recording.
Yeah, if I wasn't recording, I would have cornered him. I would have put Ryan in a corner and say, okay, just answer the question now.
Nobody puts Ryan in a corner.
When I want to know an answer, I will put him in a corner. There were some Praetorian guards walking around, so I probably wouldn't have gotten far.
There were, and we did get some photo ops with them.
Yeah, yeah, very nice. Yeah, so once again, I love visual analogies. I know there's another word for that. Illusions. Visual illusions. And that to me set my excitement on a level which I won't even be able to sit still for. So Sarah, when we're sitting together for Last Jedi, if I'm constantly nudging you, that's my way of saying, look. He took that shot from Naboo.
Right.
He took that shot. He took that lighting design from Return of the Jedi.
So you'll be nudging me about visual cues, and I'll be nudging you about musical illusions.
There you go.
And I'll be back on Saturday night spoiling the whole thing for you.
Oh, thank you.
No, I'm joking.
Thank you, James.
I'm joking.
All right. So was there anything else that stood out to you guys?
So let's not spoil the whole press conference because we did get audio of the whole thing, and we want the Skywalkers and the listeners of Radio 1138 to experience it themselves.
Right. Yeah. So if you'd like to hear the press conference in its entirety, we've posted it on our Skywalking Through Neverland feed as a special bonus episode.
And also, we'll link to that from Jedi News, so you'll be able to listen to that directly. And it's a really, really nice, clean audio that Richard managed to hook into the audio boards and get it. So yeah, it came out really well.
Oh, thank you. And once again, thank you to Disney Lucasfilm for putting on such an amazing event and really welcoming the fans and members of the press. And they treated us very, very well.
They did. So big, big thanks.
So thank you, James, for joining us on Skywalking Through Neverland. This is a fun crossover episode.
Thank you so much for having me and for hosting me and for being absolutely awesome, the pair of you. It's been absolutely fantastic to be here and to share some quality time with both of you. We're having a really good time, and we're not even halfway through it yet.
Right. And don't be offended if I unfriend you on December 9th. Through the 11th? I don't want to hear anything.
But if you do want to keep up with James, where can people find you?
So people can find me at Jedi News. It's Jedi News UK everywhere except for Facebook, where it is just Jedi News. And you can find me personally. I'm at Planet Burns everywhere. So that's Planet Burns. And I look forward to chatting with you both very, very soon. And I think we're going to be recording on late Saturday night or Sunday morning. First reactions to something.
Well, you will be.
Yeah.
No. Well, we will all be recording and we'll put it out at a later date. Just be first reactions.
Okay.
Something inside me is awake.
I won't let them win!
That is a big gun.
Darkness rises and light to meet it. BB-8, punch it! Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Rated PG-13.
Shoutouts, Skywalker shoutouts. Which Skywalkers get props from here in Neverland? Who was tweeted out? Shout out. Who was photobombed? Shout out. Who was shared a post? Shout out.
We're going to start our shoutouts on Twitter at Skywalking Pod. This is where Jonathan Heil, who is at Just a Disney Geek, he tweeted, catching up on the latest episode 192 while styling in my new Porgalicious BB-8 shirt. Hashtag Skywalker selfie. And so thank you, Jonathan. He posted a picture of himself in the design that we had created that has the little Porg wearing his little BB-8 outfit with the Mickey ears. It's so adorable. And
it's an orange.
It's an orange.
Which looks really good.
It does. It looks amazing. So, like, I want to order an orange BB-8
You got to order ours. Shirt. Everyone's got their shirts but us.
I know, right? So, yeah, you can head to TeePublic to order a lot of, not just t-shirts, but all kinds of fun things, totes and bags and all cool stuff.
Perfect stocking stuffers.
I know. All right, now I want to give a shout out to James Burns of Jedi News, who is just with us, Trisha Barr of Fangirls Going Rogue, and BJ Priester of Hyperspace Theories for joining us for an impromptu meetup at the end of last crazy weekend of the press conference. So I couldn't be at the press conference, but I was so happy to join you guys later for that lovely meetup.
It's always great when you can get together with, once again, like we've been saying, with friends you don't ever get a chance to see, but at events like this, and just hunkering down and getting into some real meaty conversations.
All right, now I'm going to jump to our Skywalking Through Neverland Facebook group, which is a great way to have a conversation with not just us, but other Skywalkers. And Logan Lanou posted this very interesting question just yesterday, and it got a lot of great comments. So I wanted to talk about this because this is something in our Star Wars society that is worth talking about. So here's what he said. So I obviously never felt this way as a child, but now that I'm a parent, my perspective has changed a bit. I can't believe this has even crossed my mind, but do you ever think there is too much Star Wars merchandise? Wow, that is a can of worms.
Well, what do you think?
Well, okay, so I actually responded to this question and said that Star Wars fans who are females have a big problem. That's a good problem, but there is so much Star Wars merchandise that is clothing for girls that I can't keep up anymore. Like, there's these dresses I want, there's these skirts, there's these cute little jackets. Like, I have so many Star Wars jackets now, you know, it's crazy. So there's so many options, so many styles, and it all costs a lot of money.
What you need living in Southern California is one more jacket.
I know, but I had to get them, right? And then now her universe, she just goes and posts this cute little video of her in Ahsoka braids, and there's an Ahsoka jacket coming out from the, it's the grown-up Ahsoka, too.
Now, do you agree with Logan that there's too much stuff coming out?
Well, so I actually wanted to hear his thoughts. So Logan said, as a parent of a little girl, I agree this is a great problem to have, the Star Wars female merchandise. I never thought I would be able to walk into a Target or a Disney store to find adorable clothes for Amelie. She has better options than I do, seeing as I shop big and tall. So he thinks it's a good problem, and I think it's a good problem to have as well. Rick Peralta says, honestly, the choices for women are way better than men right now.
Well, that's for sure. we're getting the faded t-shirt look, which I don't like, as if it's vintage. But it's not really. It's made to look vintage.
Right.
You know, the girls are getting the cosplaying, the
everyday cosplay.
Yeah, the everyday cosplay, yes. And that's what I want.
Yeah, they're really cool. Like, yeah, I just got the Wonder Woman jacket, which is amazing.
Now, in my opinion, is there too much merchandise? It all depends on the merchandise itself. If the brand is going to be slapped on junky stuff, then yes. But
well, I'm not just talking about t-shirts and stuff. I'm
talking about everything altogether.
Okay.
In my opinion, sure. Let's put out a lot of merchandise and you pick and choose.
Right.
You don't have to get everything. And if you think there is too much, well, take a step back and go, what do I want?
Right. And to have that option is really great as a consumer.
And what Lucas had said from the very beginning, we'll never just slap a Star Wars brand on anything like Fox wanted to do just to sell a shoddily made product. And I think right now Disney's doing a very good job. Although, didn't we see in the betting aisle at Target this R2-D2 bank that didn't look like R2-D2?
The sculpt was off.
It was way off. And they had another little plush R2 with a very conical shaped head. Okay, now there needs to be more awareness on the products they're putting out. Someone needs to have a final say, because I'd rather not have an R2 bank that looks like that than an R2 bank that looks like that.
Okay. So Michelle Salcedo says that toy-wise, there are so many options, but each fan is different. My fellow loves the big figures. I prefer the smaller ones. Would I buy Kylo Ren in each size? No, but I won't knock down a fan who does. Which, of course not. Yeah.
That's what we were just saying.
Yeah.
Take a step back, see what you want to get. If you think it's too much, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
Someone like me, I may say, no, not enough. Bring it on. I just don't want to have the public feel like they're going under Star Wars fatigue, though.
Right.
That could hurt the brand.
Right. And I think right now with The Last Jedi coming out, like the merchandise is just coming out fast and furious because everyone wants to jump on the bandwagon, per se. And with Christmas as well, or the holidays coming, it's a good time to put out new product because, people will buy stuff, if not for themselves, then as gifts for the Star Wars fan in their life.
Because they're all caught up in the hype and the excitement.
Yes.
I recall back in 1989, the slews of Batman merchandise I got. It was a great film, but I think I overbought the Batman merchandise just because I was caught up in the excitement.
Yeah. So Amanda Bond and Claire Henry also agree that, it's cool to have this problem of too much Star Wars female geek merchandise because all we had was a man's t-shirt. And actually in storage, I have my very first Star Wars t-shirt, which is like a screen printed battle going on between the Millennium Falcon and like some TIE fighters. And it's just, it's the blocky man's t-shirt that was oversized. So I could wear it and feel like, oh, look, I'm repping Star Wars.
I think between
back in the 90s,
Disney Consumer Group and her universe, I think they made up for the last 40 years.
Yeah, me too. So yay. All right, now moving on to the Skywalker of the Week.
Who will it be? Who has not been Skywalker of the Week yet? How about a Skywalker himself?
You might know him as Luke Skywalker, but he's a hero to us all. Mark Hamill.
Yay! Congratulations, Mark Hamill.
I know you've been waiting for this. I know it's right there in the title, Skywalker of the Week. Hey, why wasn't I Skywalker of the Week? Well, now, Mark, here you go. The honor is now all yours. But Sarah, how did he get to be Skywalker of the Week?
Well, it's because he could actually be a Skywalker. So we had tweeted out our episode about the Star Wars Holiday Special. We interview Holiday Special camera operator Larry Hyder. He has stories with B. Arthur, Art Carney, Carrie Fisher, at Hamill himself, Ford, and Wookiees. So we tweeted that out, and he actually liked the tweet. So we don't know if he listened, but there is a possibility because he saw the tweet.
But he does know about Skywalking through Neverland because he does like a lot of tweets put out regarding Skywalking through Neverland, whether it be the Skywalker of the Week or something we had mentioned, like when Brian Sims had done his story on the Mark Hamill street name.
That's right.
Mark Hamill Drive. Mark Hamill liked a lot of his tweets, and Brian had said that he was on the show talking about it, and Mark Hamill liked all those. So you figure at this point, the name Skywalking through Neverland it's in his consciousness somewhere.
Yes.
And now it'll be cemented in his consciousness.
Because he has his very own jingle by Rob Dellinger.
The John Williams of podcasting.
Now, before we wrap up this episode, we want to talk about where we will be and where you can find us to get your little Porg BB-8 buttons.
That's right. Now, if you are in the Southern California, Hollywood, Los Angeles area, please come down and see us at the... Is this written down somewhere? Oh, here it is. TCL Chinese Theater IMAX.
That's right. We will be with liningup.net for the Jedi line, and that will be December 7th through December 14th. Now, we won't be there all those days, but we're definitely going to be there some of those days because we have to do some hours.
Like on December the 12th, we will be doing our Force Fun Challenge games. These are the games we had done previously at LostCon. Now we're going to bring them to liningup.net, where we're going to play them in the forecourt. So if you like group games, come on down. Please join us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. All right. And then also during that time on December 13th and December 14th, look for at Skywalking Pod's tweets and at FG Going Rogue tweets for the Last Jedi Nissan press event as we go on a Star Wars scavenger hunt throughout Hollywood. It's going to be amazing. Very excited about this. So I'm not sure what it's all going to entail, but I know I'll be driving around in Nissan Leaf and another new Nissan car. So very excited about that.
Now, are they going to use the cars that have been shown in the ads, like the Phasma car and the other character cars?
That would be pretty amazing. I'm sure we'll see them on display. I'm not sure about actually driving them around because they are worth like a lot of money.
Yeah, but if these are the character-inspired cars, I may have to take one back to Long Beach. You know what? I'll pay the insurance.
Yeah. December is a big month for meetups because on December 30th, we will be in Boston, or actually Natick, Massachusetts, which is near Boston, Massachusetts, for a Skywalking Last Jedi screening at the Jordan's Furniture IMAX. So we will be watching The Last Jedi in 3D, and those tickets are available now to purchase. So just head to that Jordan's Furniture IMAX website to do that.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing the 7 o'clock showing.
Yes. So make sure you buy the 3D Last Jedi 7 p.m. showing and join us for that. And we'll probably be hanging out before or after as well with Skywalkers. Yes.
All right, and that should do it for 2017.
What do you mean?
For the meetups.
Oh, yes, that should. I thought you said the show.
What?
Yeah, I was confused. I was like, what? The Last Jedi's coming out. More shows are coming.
But not to worry, because 2018, I'm sure there's going to be a film, in 5 more months?
Oh my gosh.
And there'll be plenty of meetups around there.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps up episode 194 of
Skywalking Through Neverland.
We would like to thank James Burns and Disney and Lucasfilm Press for inviting us. And of course, we want to thank all of you Skywalkers who listen every single week.
And every single week, we want to invite you over to our YouTube channel where you can watch live recording of this podcast as well as the many other videos that we post.
Yeah, so please subscribe. We are youtube.com/skywalkingthrough-neverland. And just as a reminder, with the holidays coming, we have our Porg BB-8 Mickey shirts or totes or stickers or mugs or pillows all available at TeePublic. They are having their $14 sale pretty much through the holidays. So just head on over there. You can go to skywalkingthrough-neverland.com/support us to get the link to that TeePublic page.
Now, we want to remind everyone to please go over there and visit our friends at retrozap.com, where you can find awesome articles and shows like Brews and Blasters,
Warp Trails,
Beltway Banthas,
Starships, Sabers, and Scoundrels,
Techno Retro Dads,
and Talking Apes TV,
where we should be posting a new show this week.
Awesome.
Where we talk with author E.C. Gaska. You know what? I'm not going to say we should. We are.
Okay.
We are going to be posting.
All right.
See, now I'm locked into that.
You can also find Skywalking Through Neverland at JediNews.co.uk. Make sure to follow our guest, James Burns, at Planet Burns on Twitter.
And we want to encourage everyone to go over there to iTunes and leave us a review. 5 stars, 1 star, 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars, as many stars as you like, but we want to hear an honest review of the show. We want to hear what you think.
And be sure to post your Skywalker selfie, hashtag at SkywalkingPod for Twitter and Instagram.
Now stay tuned for outtakes and bloopers that didn't make it into the show for one reason or another. Maybe Sarah swore, hashtag. Maybe she didn't. But
maybe Rian Johnson swore. You don't know.
Well, yeah, he did.
So once again, thank you, Skywalkers, for listening. We just love it when you do that. And always remember...
Neverland on Alderaan.
Some imagination, huh?
To our Skywalkers and Tweetwalkers, thanks for listening. Skywalking Through Neverland is created and produced by Richard and Sarah Woloski. Original music by Rob Dellinger. Creative consultant Mark Augushowitz. Technical advisor Peter Heitman. Facebook administrators Donald Wicks, Joey Pittman, and Norma Heitman.
Skywalking Through Neverland is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Any sounds, music, and clips played during this podcast are the property of their copyright holders. All original content is property of Skywalking Through Neverland, all rights reserved. Sorry, had to be said. Christmas time is here. All right.
So Richard and I are now going to sing a song. And what song are we going to
celebrate a day of peace, a day of harmony.
Simon Wilkie has asked us.
A lot of really good posts, Toddy.
Yeah, Simon Wilkie has just asked us if we will sing "Christmas in the Stars."
Christmas in the Oh no! You know what? I'm not going to sing 3PO to 3PO.
All right, I need to go. Give me a second. Sorry. I know. I'm a girl.
That was every show.